Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Cromify food vacuum sealer. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful, I'll put a link to this in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So it says here, vacuum sealer, wide compatibility, built-in cutter, 1-year warranty, premier quality, preserves food up to 5 times longer. So it says silicone contact bar, work with silicone sealing gasket to make optimal sealing. Number 2 here is sealing foam gasket. Objective to ensure vacuum chamber is airtight so the bag can be vacuumed properly. 3 is vacuum nozzle. This can be used for removing air from bags, canisters, bottles. Do not block the vacuum nozzle when vacuuming a bag. Accessory hose is required when vacuuming a canister or bottle. 4 is vacuum chamber, an airtight chamber for vacuuming. 5 is sealing strip. Work with silicone contact bar for sealing function. And then 6 is accessory button. Make sure the connection of the vacuum tube before vacuuming the wine stoppers, vacuum canisters, or to start marinate mode. Press this button to start vacuuming bottle or canister with light flashing. Will stop automatically when reached a certain negative pressure. So they have little pictures here of vacuum sealing, cutting the bag, and using this with a separate canister. So here we have a foam strip. I assume this is like kind of a spare. It seems split. It like purposely split down the middle. Here is a roll of vacuum bags. Here are some separate vacuum bags. Let's see how many we have here. There's 5. Instruction manual. So this tells how to use it. It says put the open end of the bag in the vacuum chamber. Do not block the vacuum nozzle. Close the lid and press on both ends of the lid. You'll hear a clicking sound if the lid is properly closed. Then start to seal or vacuum and seal. When the indicator light turns off, process completed. Press the unlock button at both ends to open the lid and remove the sealed bag. Here we have a contact card. This is a hose. So you can connect this up to it to take air out of, say, wine bottles or jars, things like that. That would require different accessories. Here we have a power cord, and here's the sealer. On the upper left here it says tips, don't vacuum juicy food or liquid. The lid cannot be opened until the light is off. So there's a selector here for moist or dry food. There's a button for seal, a button for vac seal, and a button for stop. There's not much on the bottom. It looks like it has pads on the 4 corners. This is where you connect it. It has a little cover there. That's kind of interesting. Okay, so if we open it up, we can see the extra foam is for here. This would be the sealing strip. There's foam up here. This is silicone. So this is silicone so it doesn't stick to the bag when it seals it. So it seems like the vacuum comes through here and evacuates air from this chamber, and the bag sits in this chamber. And then it has locks on either side. So when you press this down, it locks, and you press these buttons to release it. Okay, so I'll plug this in. Okay, so it has these bags here, and they have a texture on it. And that's to allow air to escape. If you just have a flat bag, it would be hard for the air to suck out of the bag itself. So first I'm going to vacuum seal some almonds. So I'll get these in the bottom. I'll open this up. You want the open end of the bag to be in the chamber. So about like that. I'll close this and I need to latch it down. So you do have to press pretty firmly on these corners. So if you're weak, and I don't mean to insult people when I say if you're weak, there are people that have weaknesses where they wouldn't be able to press down and close that, then this may not be good for them. So we have moist and dry. These are definitely dry. We have seal and vac seal. So I hit vac seal. It's sucking the air out as we speak. Okay. Okay, it's probably sealing right now. Looks like. There we go. So now I press the buttons on the sides. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. And here we go. They're all sealed up. So this made it actually very stiff. Like if these were in here loose, you'd be able to easily bend this, but since it pulled the air out of there, it locked everything together. So now if I want to open this, I can just use this cutter here. That's not exactly what it's meant for. It's meant for when you're making your own bags, because typically you would pack like this and you might take it camping or on a road trip or something like that. So I can go in here, put it on the cutter, and now I've opened up my bag. So I see there's a notch here for tearing this open. I don't really want to tear that right now, so I'm just going to put a notch in this scrap piece and see how easy it is to tear. I'd say that's pretty easy to tear. So if you're vacuum sealing things and making snacks, and if you don't have a notch in it already, it might not be a bad idea to take a scissor and just even a tiny little notch in there will make it easier to tear. if you're trying to tear it without a notch, very difficult. So that was a big bag for those almonds, and I could have made my own bag and had a smaller bag. So that's probably the more efficient way to do things. So what I want to do here is seal up one end. So this is similar to vacuum sealing. So I'll take this in here and I'll put it on the heating part here. I'll close this and lock it down. And then I'll hit seal. So this is melting it together. Okay, it's finished. So now we have a seal. So now I want to cut this. So you want to leave just a couple inches above where your food will be. And this cutter does go both ways. You can cut it right or left. So I have a little pouch here. I have some carrots. Okay, so I have those in the pouch. I'll put those in here. I'll make sure the open end is in the vacuum chamber. I'll vacuum seal. There we go. Vacuum sealed carrots. So these are marketed a lot to people to preserve food. So you could say buy some meat and vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer and it will keep for a very long time. And that's a very good use for this. I'll probably personally use it to get snacks prepared for camping. So they stay clean and dry. I can throw these in a cooler. Although carrots aren't going to really get ruined by water, but other foods might. I can put these in a cooler and they're not going to get water in them. They're going to stay very fresh. So that's probably how I'll use this. So there are other off-label uses for this. And say I have some socks and I want some emergency socks. I know that sounds weird, but maybe you want some socks you can keep in your car, and then if you were to ever get wet socks for some reason, you could have a dry pair. Anyone who's had wet socks knows that that can be dangerous, like if you're hiking, or you could throw them in your backpack or something. But say you wanted emergency socks. There we go. So now I could throw these in my backpack or the trunk of my car or somewhere, and in an emergency, dry pair of socks ready to go. And like I said before, you'd probably want to put a little slit on there. You don't want to cut into the bag, but later if I needed to get into these, I can now open them up and let the air in, and I have my socks ready to go. So you could put potentially like papers in here. Anything you needed to keep dry for emergency use. Matches would be a good one. You could put some matches and some fire starting materials in one of these, and then you have an emergency fire starting bag. So say you're going kayaking, you have no plans to make a fire, but you want an emergency kit with you just in case. You could have that all ready to go. You get stranded for some reason, you pop this thing open, you have dry stuff that you can make your fire with. So I had another little idea to split this bag up I'm going to try. So I'm going to cut this clean here. So say I wanted to make some small snack pouches. I could open this up. I'll go about a third of the way in. I'll hit seal. So here I have a seal along here, and then I could do it on the other side too, but you get the idea. I could put some almonds in one side, and then I could put carrots in the other. And ideally you'd make your own bag and you'd have it a lot smaller than this, so you'd only need it about this tall, but I have two things in there. And there we go, we have a little snack pouch with carrots and almonds in it. And you could divide this up again and you could have 3 different things in here and keep them all separate. And then you could notch both sides. I would probably notch both sides anyway, no matter how you seal it. Because sometimes when you tear a notch, it doesn't tear straight. So that gives you 2 options. But here you can open up your carrot side. You can open up your nut side separately. So it also has this thing here. You can put that on here. And then this would vacuum seal bottles and such. I'll just vacuum it against the table. Okay, so that vacuumed that. So that's the Cromify vacuum sealer. I think this is going to be really nice for preserving foods, but also making little snack pouches and things like that. By vacuum sealing, the food's going to stay fresh for longer. It's also going to take up less room. It'll make it completely waterproof. Like when you have a traditional sandwich bag with a little slider closer, those things can leak sometimes. They're not airtight. Well, this, you know, it's airtight because when it was vacuum sealed, it was stiff in there. So if this is no longer stiff, you know it was penetrated and air got into it. So as long as the vacuum's in here, you know that it's been waterproof the whole time. So I think this is great for, you know, backpacking, hiking, kayaking, you know, canoeing, things like that. And also just preserving foods around the house for, like, say, if you buy a lot of meat, you can put half your meat in your vacuum bag, seal it up, put it in the freezer, and you can store it for longer. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.